Alison, Krauss and Union Station are an American bluegrass and country band fronted by Alison Krauss. She has an interesting contract with her publisher, which she is required to release alternating albums between albums under her own name as Alison Krauss and by Alison Krauss and Union Station, who are a specific band. They've been in existence since 1987 and they've released 7 albums so far. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is the 7th studio album by Alison Krauss and Union Station, and it's their first in 14 years. And this is a new release album, so this is a new release review. Uh, Most of the reviews on my channel are not new releases. I am working my way through a list of supposedly the 3,000 greatest albums of all time, according to a website called Play Music, where they've made an amalgamated list from critic lists over the years, a bit like a Metacritic, but going back in time further. And they have this list of 3,000, and I'm working my way up from number 3,000 to number 1. Will I ever get there? I have no idea. I am just over a third of the way through. So if that sounds an interesting thing to you, then hit subscribe and follow me as I go on this amazing journey that I'm on. Sometimes, though, I step off that list, and one of the reasons for stepping off that list is to do a new release. And usually I do that for somebody that I've got some familiarity with, and I think it'd be interesting to hear what they've got and do a review of it. So that's what's happened here. I'm fairly aware of Alison Krauss, and I've had several of her albums, and I was looking forward to listening to this, and I enjoyed listening to it. So I would describe it as being folk, almost English folk at times. I know folk means different things on different sides of the channel in different parts of the world, which is kind of part of the whole idea of what folk is, that it should be kind of local. With occasional more bluegrassy kind of songs in here. I wouldn't classify anything on here as country. I don't know if anybody else would. I wouldn't say I'm an expert. Uh, Instruments we've got in play here, we've got things like fiddles, banjos, mandolin, dobro, I'll come back to that, upright bass, guitar, piano, accordion on one track, and strings. So I don't know how that's been done. And a little bit of lap steel. I couldn't see in the credits any credits to any percussion, and as I was listening, I didn't particularly notice any percussion. So a dobro is a particular kind of guitar. It's usually tuned similar to a guitar. It looks like it's a guitar, apart from the fact that it's got a big metal thing in the middle of the body. So if you know the cover for the Dire Straits album, Brothers in Arms, that's got one of these kind of guitars on the cover. And that's called a resophonic guitar, is the generic name. There are 2 brands that are well known, which are National and Dobro. And Dobro is probably better known than National. The National is referred to in a Paul Simon song on Graceland. It's the Mississippi Delta was shining like a national guitar. So sorry about all the technical information there. And it has a particular sound to it. And on this album, it's quite often played with a slide. So all the playing on this album is utterly gorgeous, but especially the slide dobro, which is why I wanted to highlight what it is. There's one of the tracks that's got some nice bits of harmonic slide done. I'm not sure I've come across harmonics. So it's where you touch your finger on the string in the right place and it gives you a higher note. It's called making a harmonic. And this has been done with a slide, which is a nice sound. All of it is really nicely done. It's sensitive and evocative, and it's just nicely put together. Another thing that really impressed me was on the One Ray of Shine. Is that the right name for that track? Yeah, One Ray of Shine. Actually, this is the one that's got that harmonic dobro on as well. It's got a really nice kind of rhythmic tick, which I believe is done on a mandolin by the sound of it, just to get the rhythm. I'm an interesting and strange person, I know, if I found these sorts of things particularly amazing. The production is really also very nice. It's rich and warm and just nicely put together. So the singing, we've got fairly obviously Alison Krauss, who's the main person in the band. We've got Russell Moore, who is, as I believe, new to them for this album. And they roughly alternate between doing a song by Alison and a song by Russell. Not quite perfectly. So Alison's voice is amazing. It's the thing that attracted me to her in the first place. I first came across her by watching the film "My Brother, Where Art Thou?" and she features in the music in there. And that led me to find out more about her and get some of her albums. She's got this clear and juicy tone, slightly Celtic, but with the accenting. It's got a slight kind of American feel, so it's kind of maybe mid-Atlantic uh, kind of feel. It's one of my favourite female voices. It's just so clear and yeah, just excellent tone. Russell's voice is strong. He's got a nice presentation. He's just not as good as Alison. It'd be really hard to be for me. And I think also for me, it felt a bit on the folky nasal side. His voice, and that's a thing that I object to in country music, particularly. But also, I've put this down as folk nasal because there's I think it's a different kind of nasal that some English folk does, and it feels more like it's got that English folk nasal feel to it. But other than that, he's got a decent voice. Now, the songs are mostly written by other people. One of them's co-written by Alison. Two of them are co-written by Victor Krauss, who's Alison's brother. I don't know any of them, or if there's any history. I don't know if they're new songs or old songs. They're mostly kind of folky stuff about disasters, places, that sort of thing. There's a song about Hangman. There's a song about there's a song about Northside Girls, which is a bit more upbeat, and there's less of a kind of things were bad back in the day, which is apparently the focus of the album. That was what they were trying to go for. To me, I'd say that the songwriting is the weakest aspect of this album. It's a bit kind of what you'd expect for core folk stuff, and maybe that's the right thing to do in terms of selling it to people. But it could have been a little bit more interesting, I think. Um, Out of the tracks, in terms of being interesting, I think that the Granite Mills track is possibly has got some of the most interesting stuff in it. I mean, it's very squarely a disaster song. Um, yeah, so that's that. Overall, it's really strong. Given how much I like Alison's singing, and you can tell that from the way I've talked about it, for me, the real star here is the instrumental playing. Is even better than for me than Alison's singing, which is really good. So it's just that side of things is just great. So slightly muted score from me because of the I feel like the songwriting could have pulled it up a little bit further. Um, but otherwise, yeah, it's a good album, and I would strongly recommend it to anybody who likes kind of folky stuff. It's just there's such a beauty to a lot of this stuff. So that's what I think. I'd love to know what you think. So if you listen to the album, let me know. If you haven't listened to it yet, have a listen and let me know. It'd be great. Come and join in the conversation. That's it from me for now.
In this vain world of trouble, many accidents occur. I'm going to sing about one as sad as you ever heard. It was in Fall River City. They were all burned up and killed, imprisoned in a factory.